Hey everyone, it's early in the morning and it's cloudy, so that's why I'm a doomy shadow person, because I don't really have any lights out here. But I got a comment suggesting that I look at some Instagram art. I'll show that comment up on the screen so you can go to this person's channel, check them out. So I haven't really looked at art on Instagram that much. I've definitely seen like the epic videos of like time lapse creating something, but I haven't actually looked at small artists, just pictures of their art. So I found the new artist tag so we can find some people who are newer to art and give them some advice, some support, some recognition. So without further ado, let's jump onto Instagram. And don't forget to subscribe if you enjoy watching our content. So our first one here is by Slow Vertigo. So they took someone else's picture and they just sketched it out as a reference. And I can't really see all of what's going on in the original photo, but this sketch looks really good. They really got the right idea of how to suggest the muscle tone. Something looks off in the perspective and size of this left arm, but I can't quite tell if maybe that was just from the original picture. I think maybe the problem is that the shoulder goes out too far. Maybe if it was a little bit closer in, it would look a little better, but I'm not 100% sure. I think they did a really great job at the subtle shading with just the very light cross hatches. They got a good idea of the dimensions of like showing the dimension, the 3-dimension of the hair. It looks really good. It looks like a great copy, a great start. So they say starting the journey, well, you're starting off strong. Good job. It's by Rotphobia, a famed singer and actress in a scum-ridden city. Career peaking in the 1930s. Okay, so we got an original character with some backstory here. I like that they've used the like real old-timey photo for the backdrop. I've done that kind of sometimes, not a whole lot, but just it's kind of fun to do mixed media in that way. You take a photo background and then you digitally draw on top of that for your characters. I think that's very fun thing to do. The character is very interesting. I'm guessing she's a werewolf because she's got kind of like an animal-ish nose. She's got the ears, she's got the fangs. I think there's some odd just twisting of the body here. Like her body seems to be facing to the left, but her head is facing to the right, and there's something that just looks kind of odd about it. I'm not quite sure what it is. I think maybe it's just that her body looks a little too small, or maybe just a little too turned. And if you can't see the rest of the body and where that's going, if you assume it's just going straight down, then the head looks like it's a little awkwardly tilted. But I think they've done a good job. They've got a lot of different techniques that they're using to show the fur. They've got little lines in the hair too, some nice subtle shading, especially on the dress. It's really got that velvety texture to it. This finger is a little oddly shaped, but that's not a huge deal. Everyone's bad at drawing hands, right? So yeah, I think this is really cool. Rotphobia, that's fun that you've got such a unique original character. Main thing is just consider the body proportions and the way that she's posed. Definitely though, I must say, it's nice to have like a curve to characters' pose and not just have them standing straight. So, you know, like one shoulder's up, one hip is down, kind of like that sort of thing. So it's nice to have that like twist, but I think something about it just looks a little off. I wish I could explain more how, but I'm not saying it's a bad picture at all. It looks really good. I'm just really, diving in to find any recommendation I can make. This is by Anamia Anonymous. You can read it. I don't have to read it. This is very, very cool. This is super well done. I love the abstract part of it. It definitely looks like a statue. It's probably a specific statue. It says hashtag Apollo, so I'm guessing it's a statue of Apollo. Maybe. They've got such great abstract shading of the face where it's just these different like blobs of color and they're overlaid over each other. Like you see this dark one, it goes all the way up there, but you see it fading out there because there's a transparent lighter blob on top of it. So that's just a really cool way of shading in the face to show the dimensions of the face, and it looks really good. It does really give that like Greek statue look to it. And I love that they used both black and white lines and all this scribbly stuff on top. Mixing the two, it really adds something kind of electric, and it's very striking, and it looks really cool. It looks alive, it looks very modern, and this is beyond something I can do, so I can't give a suggestion. Okay, this is by Awaji. I'm sorry if I butchered that. Awaji, titled Bubbles in Everyday Life. So very abstract. Whoops, I have an alarm going. That was my alarm to film this video, so I guess I'm up early. Yeah, I'm not sure if these lines are supposed to represent something, maybe if they're supposed to be letters, but they have a very nice shape. Like, it's just very cool looking. I don't know how to explain it, but there's sometimes you just like see a certain like curve and line together and you're like, yeah, that's nice. I don't like commenting on really abstract things like this because I feel like I haven't like studied abstract art. I haven't really created it, so I feel like I can't really say anything about it besides appreciation. Like, I can't critique it because I don't know what makes bad abstract art. I do think it's very simple, but obviously there's some sort of concept. The bubbles, I love the curve of the bubbles. Like, they're almost like a spiral, if you can see. And I want to know, like, why is it yellow, orange, pink? Why those colors? So I think it's nice that it does pull me in, and it's very just relaxing looking image. Like, it makes me think of like a cool summer day in the sun near the water. So I really like this Awaji Bubbles in Everyday Life. I need it in my everyday life. So this is by HTTPSeaRat, but it says a watercolor illustration, and they specifically mention these gold edges, and they have a video showing that if we want to go look. Very nice, very sparkly, very gold. And zooming in like that does highlight something very cool. I love that they've overlaid the gold on top of the leaf as like a perfect shadow instead of just like a realistic shadow beneath it, that they've gone on top, and it kind of makes the dimensions feel kind of quirky in a way. I think the shape of the peaches is a little odd, especially just like this harsh black line for the curve. I wish it was a little smoother, but I think it does look good. I don't think it looks bad, but I think the highlight is definitely the leaves. The colors are really nice. I love that there's some contrast, like there's a lighter leaf here and darker leaves here. But the gold outline, they were right to bring it up because the gold outline is definitely a literal and figurative highlight of the picture. This is by ImRushlikePaddling. I can't say it. This is a very simple drawing, but it's done really well. I love the cross-hatching. I especially love the cross-hatching on the hill that the boy is standing on, because it really helps show some dimension there. I wish there was more of that on this one because it just kind of looks like a blob of dirt. Like, it doesn't look like it has the rocky crags of a mountain. So I wish it had a little more in there, but there are some subtle little ones, like in here, and some subtle tonal shifts down here. I know that obviously as there's more distance, the details become less clear, but it doesn't look that far away, and I think it would still help to have some of that. I mean, if you think about like a Bob Ross painting, the mountains in the distance still have quite a bit of detail on them. Not like every tiny little detail, because that's impossible. Well, it's not impossible, but very time consuming. So I just wish there were a few more of those like little, like random little streaks of shade to suggest some more indentations in the rock. but I wish this like horizon line was straight. I feel like that's kind of throwing it off a bit. But I do like that it's not trying to overdo it with the colors. Like, it's got very simple style, so it's gone with very simple colors, and I think that works really well, and I do like it. But yeah, I would just put a little more shading in the rock. And I know that's really hard sometimes, like I'm really bad at that sort of thing, but I would suggest trying it. Here's one by Obrah Maestro art. It's of ballet shoes. And I do think that there's some cool concept here, like the shoes are very worn, like it shows like how hard they work, how our feet go through so much stress, you know. And I think it's pretty well done, but I think it's just really standing out to me that there's some kind of weird parts of the anatomy. But I can't know what they were trying to portray, but I think that, well, this right foot looks very, very, very good. The left foot, it looks like something weird happened there. And maybe that's part of it. I don't know. I can't read Russian. I think that's Russian. But yeah, I think the left foot, or the right foot, the foot on the left foot is the right foot. It does look very good. They've got such good like wrinkles and all that. There's a lot of detail in the foot, but it doesn't look over detailed. Meanwhile, this one, it looks a little over detailed and the shaping's a little off. So maybe it's supposed to have that contrast. I don't know. It could be like, you know, you draw the one eye and you try to draw the next eye and it just won't turn out right. It won't match. It could be something like that, you know, or an odd reference photo where it's hard to figure out how to do it right. But I think they've really got a ton of talent. I'm not trying to put that down. They've got a ton of talent. It's just me. I like looking at things anatomically because that is an area where I really want to improve. I want to draw really anatomically correct looking things, and it's something I struggle with, so that's the thing that my eye always goes to in my art, and then it carries over into looking at others' art. Here, my artistic nerve is a chicken, an oil pastel. I would love to try using oil pastels, but I feel like I would be bad at it. But they've done a really great job. Like, just look at it. Just look and consider it. Consider what's going on. And while you look at it, let me fix my settings because I realized I'm on 480p for gaming when I should be on 720p. So the quality is going to actually improve in a moment. Okay, hopefully we're back. Hopefully the quality has improved because this chicken is very beautiful. Do you see what I see? Because what I see is so many colors. They've put the whole rainbow on this chicken. And that's a really nice thing to do because, you know, the chicken has white feathers. And how do you make white? White light happens when all the colors are mixed together. So they've done a really good job at just showing that through both using a white pastel, obviously, and a lot of yellow pastel, but they've also mixed in these greens, these reds, these purples, and together it all looks very beautiful. It looks so nice. They've got a really good sense of the shading and texture and all that. It looks really good. So yeah, this is very nice. People who can draw animals well are very great, and I approve of this. This is by Art Draya. She says she's new to digital art. She wants to know if we have any tips. So let's see what we can suggest for Art Draya. First of all, I love the yellow with the blue and then the slightly peachy background. Something about that is very nice color. I think your anatomy of the face, it looks pretty good. It's a unique style, but it doesn't look like too cartoony or anything. The hair is very blunt, and I've talked about in my how to draw hair video that blunt hair, it doesn't always look good, but in this case it does because it's kind of simplified because it's kind of like pop arty in a way. I don't know if I'm using that genre wrong, but just with the simplicity of the background and then like the blue leaves, like the blunt hair fits in, especially if you take into account like the yellow squares in the background. Her hair is mimicking the shape of the squares, so that's very cool. With the shading, at least on the shirt I will talk about, because she mentions excuse her shading, so I guess she doesn't think it's good. I think it looks pretty good. I think some are misplaced, but I think the biggest thing will just be like blend them out more. Like, don't have a super sharp line of shadow, drag it out so it has more of a transition. Obviously there are some areas where on a shirt there would be a very sharp shadow, but I think in a case like this it'd be nice to have it be a more subtle shift in tone rather than a sharp shift. And the shine on the hair, it looks pretty good, but I would maybe make some of the lines a little longer in areas just to help break up how stiff it looks, and maybe add a little more shine on the rest of the hair somewhere, just so it doesn't look quite as singled out. But I don't know if this would actually look good, I'm just thinking of ideas. One of my photography professors, he would say that his noodle was cooking when he was rambling off ideas. So my noodle's cooking. I can't actually know for sure what would look good. I just get an idea and I think, oh, what about this? So, someone might try out all of my advice and it looks way worse. I don't know. So don't take my word as some like grand know-it-all thing. But yeah, this is very fun, very cool. I think you're on the right track, Art Draya. This is super. Here's a butterfly by Trina. So what makes it great? Obviously, it's not like perfect. I think there could be see these like kind of fuzzy lines. I feel like on an insect, it's better to draw very sharp lines because there's something with a lot of insects that are very sharply shiny, not like a fuzzy shiny. I don't know if that makes any sense, but they're very like glossy and they've got so many like little body joints, so I wish that it looks like maybe they used like a kind of airbrush marker sort of pen for the lines on the butterfly's body. I wish they would have done something a little sharper. That's just on that part because I think the soft shading on the middle of the body looks really good. They did a great job there. And most of all, the thing that really sticks out to me, besides just overall, it has a lot of great detail in how they've shown, like, I don't know what to call them, like the panels of the wings, all the little white specks on the edges, is that they've got this really beautiful shift in tone in the wings. Obviously, there's a like kind of a gradient between the more red and the more orange parts, but when it turns into the orange to the yellow, it's almost stringy, like it's got more detail and it looks like flames. It's really beautiful. They've done a really great job. So Trina, however you say your name, keep it up. We'll end on this one by A. Pavliuk. I'm sorry to anyone whose name I said wrong in this, but this is very, very cool. But I love the contrast in this picture. It's so great. But they didn't like push it too far. Like they used a very rich and bright in a way green, but it's also dark. It's not overtaking the image. And the same with the purple of the lips and the hair. They didn't like go with a magenta to just like knock your eyeballs out of your head. It's very subtle in a way. Like it kind of blends in with the black, but it's also very contrasting from the black. It stands out because it's very vivid and saturated, but it's not overly so. So I think the color choice in this is really cool, and I especially love that just like they even added a little contrast from her skin to the rose by making the rose just a little more dark, like a little more gray rather than the white of her skin. Obviously her skin is gray, not white, but it's comparable. I love the detail of the earring. That looks really good. I'm curious what's going on with the nose. This looks like her nostril. Or, well, obviously this is her nostril, but this is like the, what do you call like the curved part of your nose on the outside? It looks like that. Something about it looks a little strange. I don't know if it's just how it's drawn or if it's the placement. But it does it stands out because it's like a little too much detail in such a like a blank canvas kind of face, Like there's not much detail anywhere else, but then you get to the edge of her nose and it's like very detailed. So that's just what I caught my eye. I think the rest of it is really great. It's really well done, and it's very cool style, and I love the color choice, so that's great. Well, that's all we're gonna look at for today. I'm sorry the quality of the video wasn't as good as it should have been in the beginning. That's my bad. I forgot to change my settings. Like I said, it's early in the morning. I don't know what I'm doing. But yeah, there's some cool art on Instagram. I think the tags are definitely a little crowded because new artist is kind of vague. So there was a lot of like musicians and stuff, which is cool to check out too because I like music too. I have a music related video coming out in a week. So you should keep your eyes peeled for that. Subscribe so you can be notified when I post that next week. Like the video if you enjoyed it, because I enjoyed it. I had fun looking at all this art. It was very good. It was very fun, unique, lots of cool different things. Lots of nice people on Instagram creating cool art. I hope my suggestions came off as constructive criticism or just ideas rather than actually like meanly nitpicking things, because I would never want to do that. I want people to be encouraged to create good art and keep making their art better and better and better. I don't think any of the things I looked at were bad at all. I think they were good, and I just wanted to suggest ways to make them even better. So if you want your art to be critiqued by me in the future, if you're on Instagram, Twitter, DeviantArt, Tumblr, anything like that, take it. Hashtag Emma Western. And if enough people do that, I'll make a video about it and I'll talk about all my viewers' art. Unless this channel completely changes by then, I don't know. I'm trying some new things. Like I said, I'm going to be making some videos about music too. I'm having gaming playthroughs every Monday, I believe. So we're having art and music on Friday and video games on Monday, just to see what people like, just for fun mostly. I was like, I have a new game to play, why not share it with the world? So, yeah, stay groovy, everyone.